And finally, the Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented by Gerard Murkowski, the Vice President of Health, Safety, Environment at Capital Power. Please welcome Gerard.
Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight, celebrating the 30th year of the Alberta Emerald Foundation and recognizing such inspiring commitment by companies, organizations, youth, and individuals to environmental priorities and climate issues. Happy 30th birthday, Emerald Foundation. Capital Power is proud to be the sponsor of the Lifetime Achievement Award. This category celebrates individual leaders who throughout their lifetime have made contributions of outstanding environmental significance. We're strong believers in innovative optimization and all of the above solutions at Capital Power. And the Lifetime Achievement Award contributors put these words into action. They see a challenge, they jump in with commitment and innovative solutions, and they offer collaborations that benefit individuals, communities, and our planet. It is our sincere pleasure to introduce the Barrelman Inc., who received an honorable mention in the Lifetime Achievement Award category, and our 2021 award recipient, Pat Letizia, Executive Director of Alberta Ecotrust Foundation. Congratulations, and thank you for your hard work and inspiration.
Lifetime Achievement, presented by Capital Power. An honorable mention goes to the Barrelman Incorporated, Dirk and Nanya Struck. The Barrelman Incorporated started as a pilot project 20 years ago after Dirk and Nanya decided to repurpose food-grade plastic barrels into rain barrels to reduce plastic waste and help organizations like Green Calgary to fundraise for climate education. Pat Letizia. Pat Letizia worked with Alberta Ecotrust Foundation for 25 of its 30-year history and led the organization as executive director and CEO for over 20 of those years. She has had many achievements as a leader, partnership broker, and advocate for Alberta's environmental nonprofit sector.
And the award goes to Pat Letizia. Please welcome Pat. Pat, can you hear me? Yes, keep the applause coming in. Yes, thank you. Hello, Pat, I can hear you.
Hi there. Thanks, Hunter. And thank you to the judges, the board, and the staff at Alberta Emerald Foundation and to Capital Power for this really lovely award. I'm pleased to join you today from the traditional territories of the Blackfoot and the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. Alberta Ecotrust works across the entire province, and I acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. Indigenous ways teach us that we are part of the ecosystem, not masters of it. The same land and the same water have been sustaining people for centuries, and we must protect and cherish these systems that give us life and many different kinds of both sustenance and prosperity. How can we not listen to the Indigenous people, knowledge keepers, and elders who have lived on this land long before the rest of our ancestors made their way here? I believe the best way forward for the environmental community, for so many reasons, is to embrace a too-wide way of seeing. I recently listened to Ariel Deranger at the Environment Funders Canada conference, and her recommendation to us was to relinquish our current perspectives and open our hearts to the culture and solutions found in Indigenous communities, because they do have time-tested solutions. This is happening in Alberta, but more, even all of us, need to move in this direction. That's a thought I want to leave with all of you. We have to find ways to do our work with, alongside, and following the lead of Indigenous communities in the best ways we can. Before I can talk about my own journey, I need to thank and acknowledge the people I've worked with from the early years of Alberta Ecotrust right up to today. I can't thank all of them, but I'll start with thanking my incredible teammates for their nomination and for securing the participation of so many people who wrote letters in support of this beautiful award. Going back to the early days, I've come to see the creation of Alberta Ecotrust as one of the province's first social innovations. We didn't have that language in 1991, and I wasn't here in 1991. I joined a few years later, but there was no end in sight on the journey to shape and change people's lives in their pursuit of healthy ecosystems across the province. I'm here today because an amazing woman named Margaret Chandler saw in me a kindred environmental feminist spirit, and we remain dear friends to this day. A big thanks to the women who laid the cornerstone of this foundation: Rose Benny, who was the original executive director, and Hazel Gillespie from Petro-Canada, and Kim Sanderson, sorry, from the Pembina Institute, who worked tirelessly behind the scenes, getting this organization off the ground. The founders of Alberta Ecotrust created space for so many people like me who saw something rather magnificent in the notion of cross-sectoral trust, collaboration, and cooperative community investment. Meeting in the middle to learn together, to find common ground and solution space, to work on the environmental challenges faced by people in all sectors, not just nonprofits and charities. I've learned through this, it's not organizations who make change, it's people. Like many of you, I always wish I could have done more, sustained more things, moved more needles. I was never one for doing things the easy way. I always wanted to do things the best way I could, moving around the boulders. That said, I always worked with the end in mind, but tried to keep things as nimble as possible. I'm a big believer in strategy. I believe you should always be able to answer the questions of why and to what end are you doing this or that. Strategy comes first, but at the end of the day, it's the resulting action that matters. And I was never really focused on my job description per se, but rather on my role and how I and my team could contribute to the impact of Alberta Ecotrust programs and deliver on our mission of inspiring and mobilizing those who champion the environment. I'm an ideas person. I can hold big ideas in my head and map systems in my mind. In fact, my brain is a series of maps and layers that always move. It never really shuts off. And this drives some people crazy. I have to really concentrate on the straight line from here to there that many people focus on. And we all have different ways to make things happen. As an organizational leader and in some ways a community leader, I never lose sight of how things are connected and how the many actors and entities in this system, in these systems that we work in, influence and drive or constrain each other. That said, I also have lots of ideas that don't work or won't work or that don't fit the current frame or strategy, and that's okay. For every 300 ideas, there's usually one good one, and there's no shortage of ideas in our world. I embrace my imperfection, and my advice here is to believe in yourself and to be persistent. What is the biggest difference we can make with the resources that we have, and how do we stretch what we have just a little bit more to make just a little bit more of a difference? These are my ongoing questions. So instead of doing the hard things off the side of my desk, I made a decision at some point in my career to focus on the big things first, the big rocks, and to fill the rest of my space with the other important items that always need attention too. Otherwise, there's no room for the big rocks, the game changers. It's not a perfect approach, but with a team effort, everything gets done. Since this is a lifetime award, I can safely age myself by saying that I joined the foundation when it was 4 years old, and it's now 30 this year, just like the Emerald Foundation. Some of you will remember back in the day when we used fax machines and desk phones to communicate. Imagine faxing your newsletter to hundreds or thousands of members. The internet was not accessible. There was no Google, no social media, no websites, no smartphones, no Zoom, just people getting to know and trust each other. Today, there are infinite ways and tools to make connecting and reaching out easier, but this can't be done alone. And I believe more coordinated efforts have the biggest chance for moving the needle. We've all seen some brilliant examples from the past year, and I think the Defend Alberta Parks campaign is the best I've ever seen in Alberta. I am proud of many things I've accomplished or worked on these past 25 years. And this includes the growth we've seen and the real transformation of our opportunities to address big challenges like ecosystem protection and climate change. I'm proud of the sector research we've done starting in 2003 with maximizing effectiveness and our most recent survey reports on navigating the future. I'm proud of our contribution to sector capacity and incorporating new approaches like collective impact grants, and social innovation labs. Project Blue Thumb was the first watershed-focused innovation lab in Canada, and I think it was a game changer for the Red Deer River watershed and the Alliance. It was for us as well. In the last few years, I'm really proud of the work we did co-leading the Alberta Narratives Project and the Canadian Climate Narratives Project. But the pinnacle here is the successful creation of the Climate Innovation Fund and the $43.4 million investment from the federal government. That would not have happened without our past success and the incredible contribution of Rod Ruff and Mike Melross. I would say that my biggest strength over the years was that I never lost sight of the big picture. I always worked toward a big vision, an ambitious vision, and it was just never really easy, but it was fun. And it was so exciting when things worked and when things came together. And even though I'm standing up here on this stage alone, I didn't get here by myself. In the last 25 years, I've had the good fortune to work with and learn from so many amazing people. You don't get to my position alone. I stand on the shoulders of so many incredible people. Many are here today. And as Natalie Odd, my old colleague, can confirm, there are many romances that come along on this journey. You know, those professional colleagues or speakers that you encounter once or many times that invite you in, that provoke you in some way, make you think, make you question everything, or even validate your own ideas and work. Essentially, they inspire you. And I have lots of them. In summary, for those of you working in this sector, my advice is to open your hearts and find a way to work with Indigenous communities in ways that make sense to them. Stop focusing on the small things, working on the big things off the side of your desk, because it's too hard, it takes too much money, and takes a lot of precious time. People will push back, I know that from experience, but I persisted on the big wins in my career. Keep focusing on the whole system. Know where you are in the systems, on the landscapes you work in. Find others to amplify and lift you up, like the Defend Alberta Parks folks did. Stand up for what you believe in and don't point fingers and complain. Finally, keep in mind that ecosystems are also part of social and economic systems. And you need to multi-solve and look for co-benefits in your work. Look beyond the borders of the Anglo sector and find allies all over the communities that you live and work in. Always keep equity at the forefront of your work. We have been too singular as a sector, and we need more diversity of cultures, skills, thinking, and experience. I've just been blessed with some amazingly strong and long-term friendships across the country and across Alberta who have lifted me up and who have inspired me so much. I have been more fortunate than many, always working with astonishingly wonderful and smart people over the years. And each and every one of them taught me something important and something valuable. You all know it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you to work in a way that always feels like it's uphill and like you don't have quite enough of everything you need in your toolkit to get there. And so I pay tribute here to the people in the community, like all of those who have won awards today, who have done this heavy lifting and we have supported through grants, who have collaborated on our projects, served on our committees and board. I think I have the best board of directors right now than we've ever had. It just gets better every go around. I pay tribute also to the people in the Anglo community who have worked so hard and put their heart and soul and skin in this game of life as an environmentalist. If I leave any kind of legacy, it's the people who have helped build this great foundation. I must, from the bottom of my heart, thank my team for initiating this nomination and those champions who wrote such amazing letters. I will tell you honestly, from the bottom of my heart, that reading the nomination and those letters was the biggest prize I've ever had. It was such a powerful pat on the back, and we leaders just don't get enough of those. It was pretty special. So I end with thanking all of them, my team, Vicki Stroich and Tegan Kopek, Simon Irving, Katie Michaels, Dana Marashi, Jessica Lajoie, Stephanie Drozda, Mike Melross, and my personal support system of Oksana Makovich and Rod Ruff. My champions, you all know that I love you and count you as a big part of my journey to acquire knowledge and wisdom and impact. Dana Duke, Paul Godman, Natalie Odd, Lori Hewson, and Rod Ruff, with extra support from Mark Bennett. And finally, I'm grateful for the patience, support, and understanding of my family. I couldn't have been the mother that I was without doing what I did at the Ecotrust and playing the role that I played in the community. And I'm so proud of each of my children for your contribution as change makers in your own right. Thank you all. This has been really amazing.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and just please soak in all the adoration that you're getting. There's been like nonstop love and emojis your way. So please, thank you so much for all of this incredible work. Hi.
Thank you.